Okay, so hello Raluca. First, thank you to be here. We'll interview you as part of our expedition, Venatici. Can you present yourself succinctly?
Hi, thanks for coming here to Eco Ruralis Association. I am Raluca and I'm member of the office team of Eco Ruralis, here located in Cluj-Napoca.
Okay. Can you tell us a bit about Eco Ruralis and how everything started and what are the objectives of the association?
Well, so Eco Ruralis was established in 2009, so like 11 years, 12 years ago already, by a couple of family farmers who wanted to associate themselves to represent their own needs and interests, especially in front of the public authorities. So in the end, our objectives evolved, but I could say that we promote small-scale peasant agriculture as an ideal way of doing agriculture and as an alternative for Romania. And we also campaign for the rights of peasants to seed, to land, to market in front of the authorities in order to have them in the public policies recognized and implemented. So we have several campaigns, as I've told you, on the right to seeds, on the right to land, on the right to market, on rural migrants, then on agroecology. And on each of these directions, we try to develop also practical ways of actions, but also very more political ways of action. So should I tell you about the seeds also, or?
We'll come with it in the next question.
So you have a question maybe? Or?
No.
Okay. So you collect and distribute traditional seeds to small food producers all over the country. How do you collect the seeds? And does anybody can order them, or it's just for Romanian?
Okay. So yes, seed distribution actually is an essential part, like the basis of rural communities. Usually seed exchanges in Romania have happened in a very informal way. It's very normal to happen. So at the beginning of our association, we have been doing seed exchanges between the members as a normal thing. And because people were very interested to find out seeds from another region, and also because peasant seeds, how we call them, traditional seeds, we felt that they are endangered. We said, okay, let's organize it in a more structured way, in a more formal way. So that's how our national seed distribution campaign started, actually. So at the beginning, we gathered seeds from people's gardens and households. They have been looking for seeds at their neighbors in their region. We asked seeds from the National Seed Bank. And let's say the fourth channel was through changing seeds with other peasants from other countries.
Okay.
So we gathered all these seeds and started multiplying them. At the beginning, we used to have a garden here in Cluj to study a little bit the plants and produce the seeds together with some other more active peasants in the country. And we started creating a catalog.
Okay.
Where every year the catalog changes depending on what we do have available for that year, and we describe all the varieties that are available, so that whoever is interested can choose based on the traits of that variety. So at the beginning, this is the one that I'm showing to you is from 2019. It looks a little bit more polished and nice, but the first ones, they were something like this. So they were mostly like printed. Yeah, it looked a little bit more peasant, let's say, and it had few varieties. So actually, each year on the 1st of March, we publish this catalog that has all the species and varieties that we distribute, and also an online form where people can write down their address and the varieties that they would like to receive. There is a maximum of 5 varieties that you can order, and we send like what we call here seeds for seeds, meaning a small quantity of seeds that can allow one person to become the next year more autonomous.
I see.
Okay.
Yes, because we have a certain capacity of seed multiplication, and we also want to encourage people to be more active. And if they want to plant, I don't know how many hectares, they can always buy seeds from other people and support actually their work. So at the beginning there were, I think, some farmers who were dedicating themselves multiplying the seeds, and now after 9 years of formal distribution, we are around 30 people to multiply the seeds. And for example, this year we distributed 47 species and 124 varieties. So there is this work of photographing, inventorying, writing the data, and and in March this distribution happens. We receive the request from people and then send the envelopes. It's like this one,
Okay.
that contains the seeds and also some information, because we think it is important to encourage people to practice agroecological agriculture. Therefore, here there are materials regarding plants companionship and other valuable information for agriculture. And sometimes there are also some petitions addressing different institutions. So
Okay, I see.
so this is it. The active seed producers, they are part of a group that we call them the Working Group for the Right to Seeds. And this group meets twice a year in order to decide what do we want to do with the seed distribution next year, what do we want to cultivate, what information to introduce, and new ideas somehow that people would like to have in the catalog.
Okay.
So this is it.
Okay.
Actually, all is free. It's kind of an exchange between all peasants. Some send
The seeds are free.
Yeah.
So even the postal costs and everything, so it's free. One can choose up to 5 varieties, and the seeds are open to Romanian peasants, urban gardeners, and the ones from Republic of Moldova. Usually we do not receive seeds like this, but someone who is interested to multiply seeds and contribute in the seed distribution, we usually have a discussion with them. We invite them in the meeting to find out also about the political reasons that stay behind the seed distributions, meaning that we want for the seeds to live in the fields and continuously adapt, but we also promote the right to seeds, the right of the peasants to exchange, multiply, and sell the seeds in the end. So.
Okay. And
Okay.
how do you finance this operation? Like to send a lot of seeds freely?
So here in Romania, I don't know if there's in other countries, there is this possibility for people to redirect a certain percent of their taxes to an NGO. So this is one of the ways that people redirect their taxes. And secondly is writing a project to independent foundations that support this kind of activities. So these are the main financing channels for the seed distribution, of course.
Okay. We've seen that you are also involved in short food chains. And can you tell us a bit about it?
Well, you are now referring to concrete examples of short food supply chain.
Yeah, how do you help like peasants to maybe found direct access to market, or I don't know, like.
So probably what you saw on our website is mostly initiatives that came directly from the members. There are members who established different initiatives, different mobilizations for a short supply chain. One of the examples is the peasant box, for example. And it's this kind of community-supported agriculture when several small-scale farmers sell their weekly veggie box to consumers. But this started from members, not from the association. So we are supporting by promoting it among our members, so other peasants can engage in the peasant box initiative, or we promote it to consumers on different media channels. What we started recently, because our website that you saw probably is very new, now we have a page there where we promote the peasants so that consumers can find out about them and order their products. Otherwise, in terms of short supply chains, we have been more involved at political level, denouncing the fact that peasant markets are disappearing more and more. All these physical places that we used to have, now they are transformed into parking places or supermarkets. So we have been denouncing this and showing that there is a need for still to have the peasant markets where people can go and sell their products, because this is a direct way to sell it, not to go to the supermarket and sell it via that way. And we also do some research on the topic to find out more about how to influence the legislation, to have some subsidies for short supply chain. So usually mechanisms that could support small-scale agriculture to sell their products directly to the consumers. So this is, for example, during the pandemic, the peasant markets were closed at one point. So we organized also a demonstration in Bucharest in front of the government, transmitting that this was a very bad idea, that many people go to the peasant market to buy their products because they know the people, it's a direct connection, the products are healthier, also cheaper, for example. And with the decision to close the markets, all the people that went there were obliged to go to the supermarket and then overcrowd the spaces. So we couldn't accept this as a solution. So in the end, the peasant markets were opened again. So we try to do these kind of things also.
Okay. So how can you have an impact? As you said, you have advocate in the association who deal with the.
You're meaning like a lawyer, no?
Yeah, that's
sort
it.
of.
No, we don't have a lawyer.
No?
So
Okay.
no. Our association is structured, let's say, like a lake. It is this office team who has three staff, and then we have the coordination committee. It's like a board with consisting in 8 peasants from different parts of the country. So they are the ones who represent the whole majority of the peasants. There are elections every 2 years. So this coordination committee actually takes the decisions. What to prioritize, what actions should we do, and so on. And together, actually, there is no lawyer. Together with with the office team, we analyze different legislation. We educate ourselves. We write the letters and everything. Then we send it to the members. Sometimes they give feedback. We incorporate them and send them to the authority. That's how it has been working.
Okay, yeah,
Forever.
yeah, because we saw like article on your website. For example, it was areas Natura 2000 that you defended, like advocating for the rights of it. And do you have like an impact with this kind of affairs that you defend at the scale of the country? Like
With the what?
like do you have do you defend a lot of this kind of cases in Romania, and
Like the ones with Natura 2000?
for example, or
In general, yeah.
yeah, what's your impact at the scale of Romania on defending land rights?
Land rights.
Yeah, like
Well, it depends on the case, because the entire phenomenon of land grabbing and then access to land is very complicated and very intricate. We made very good progresses at the beginning, for example, of let's say this efforts, this campaign. At the beginning, we didn't know exactly who is buying land in Romania. So many years were dedicated for research, trying to find out who are these actors, what companies, what public persons are buying, because in 2014 the land market was open to anyone in the European Union as an obligation after becoming members of EU. So this changed a bit the rules of the game, practically liberalized the market. So we managed to expose specific cases of land grabbing and expose it in the media, and then the media was interested and wrote about this. So this grew a little bit the consciousness about the phenomenon of land grabbing, because what we tried to say is that land grabbing is not only done by the global north in the global south, but is also happening from the western to the eastern. So this campaign started first with exposing land grabbing, and now we also try to focus more on access to land. So here I am not the most knowledgeable, because my part is on seeds. What I know is that my colleague, who is working mostly on land, has been doing progress at European level mostly, where there is called an INI report, a report that is usually initiated by an MEP that highlights the need for access to land for younger people, and there are several proposals there to be taken into account by the European Parliament in their legislation. So this is mostly. And nowadays, for example, like these days, my colleague is working on a concrete example in Sibiu County, where a company is grabbing the graze land of people. So now through the research with the local community, we are discovering so many shocking aspects. So they are now putting the basis of a local campaign there against this land grabber who raises cows. I don't know if there is Angus cows but a specific type of cows receiving subsidies from the government. So now it is in this process of starting the local campaign and answering actually to their request for the association to intervene. So I hope I made a little bit of light in this area.
Yeah, completely. And so you tell us that your colleague is working at European Union level also, like.
Yes. As an association, we are also working at European level because we are members of the European coordination Via Campesina, so the European body of La Via Campesina International. And as members, we cooperate with other similar organizations and unions in Europe who are members of the ECVC. And that is how we have a better representation also in Brussels. So we are part of different working groups that are happening in ECVC. We participate to internal meetings all together to decide how can we act better at European level. Because sometimes it is, in certain aspects, it is better in the case of Romania to have some decisions at European level that come like this in Romania to be implemented than the other way. So depending on the situation, so that is how we are active also at European level, and that's how my colleague was there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We have other questions, maybe?
Yeah, maybe let's just check the time.
Okay. Have a bit time.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah, one more question about maybe the legislation aspect. And so for you, the European Union legislation, is that like something that help you or something like it's a constraint?
It's somewhere like in the middle. In some aspects, it can be helpful, like looking right now at the Green Deal, Farm to Fork, for example, that sets some objectives that otherwise probably in Romania would have been very difficult to even think about somehow. But in other aspects, for example, like the common agricultural policy is not that helpful for us. So it's been some years since we tried to say that, look, we are very small scale farmers actually. And there are around 4 million in Romania. Together with Poland, we are more than 50% of the peasants in the European Union. So we need a cap that answer also to our needs. And we think that the cap was mostly driven by all these subsidies given for how much land you have. So usually the subsidies goes to the bigger farmers. It has this agro-industrial perspective. So yeah, it depends about what we are talking about.
Yeah, so basically it's encouraging like industrial farm more than small scale farmers. And so that's why for you it's important to change the agricultural model or food model, like
it's essential.
Yeah.
I mean, we are an association of small-scale farmers, meaning imagine that we have nowadays 14,000 members, and 80% of them work around 1 and 5 hectares. So this is very, very few, so it's mostly subsistence and semi-subsistence agriculture. Therefore, our needs are very, very different than the professional farmers. And also the way we are doing agriculture is completely different than the main discourse, main practice. We call it for ourselves agroecological agriculture. And this is what we propose as an alternative, as a vision, not only in how do we work with the soil, but also how do we work with the animals, how do we cooperate with other peasants and people who are working with us, and also how we want to sell our products. It's a vision that goes on several pillars. So for us, agroecology is also the practice, but also the social movement, and that's why it means a system transformation, not only on how you produce the land. So.
Yeah, it's kind of a society vision, actually, your project from like it's not just food, it's also social and economical and
yeah, because we are a food producers association, but when we think about food production, we are also thinking about the entire rural community. And regardless that we do not work on health and education in rural communities, we are aware of the fact that several aspects in the rural community need to be consolidated in order for people to have better life. We are talking about newer generations that would like to be the successors of their parents or to have new entrants in agriculture. And to succeed, then we need to have rural communities that are more thriving, that can ensure that working place in agriculture or somewhere else, that can ensure access to market and also ensure a sense of security there being in the local community. You have a hospital or a medical point, you have a school, you have some activities that engage you together with the community. Otherwise, I think it becomes very sad somehow and very lone to live in the countryside. Why would someone else do this in the future? So we are thinking a little bit about this process of ruralization somehow and what is needed for the future, so that young people like as you, who are now probably in their 20s, what would they need so that they would become the farmers that they would like to have, that kind of life that they would like to have.
Okay.
So for me it's quite good, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
Maybe you have a book in mind that you would like to recommend us.
Oh my god, I don't know. I was thinking about some memes. What did book? And then, oh my god, my head is empty, like I didn't read any book.
Okay, no problem if you don't have.
So yes, I can, for example, this one that I read, and it is really nice. It's called Agroecology, Science and Politics. This is written by Peter Rosset, is one of the founders of La Via Campesina, and this is with a researcher, because the term of agroecology is very new, started being used, I think, in 96 or something like this. So I think this book, why is very nice to read? It's because it talks about agroecology from these pillars, like practical, practice, social and political movement. And somehow it is presented a little bit in contradiction to the concept of agroecology that the industry has appropriated and is now using it as a techno-fix of the current problems. So this was one that I enjoyed, for example.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I have it? Like, show you a bit. Okay. I need to launch it a bit again. We have just one last question. It's do you have like an advice for young generations?
Depending where from. John, because many actually younger European peasants or future farmers have quite the same problems, I guess, regarding access to land and the high prices and so on, or they are not sure if they were going to be very good farmers. And one, of course, would be to continue in their dream and find the possibilities, and also trying to find support among other associations who might exist in their countries. To if they are not sure where to start, there are farm incubators around Europe where they can join and they can test their knowledge and learn even more to be to feel assured when they're starting their activity as farmers, and of course to connect with other farmers. I think this enthusiasm makes you feel that you are not alone, and actually this social connection brings so much joy and also knowledge. I think it's you don't feel so desperate, maybe.
Okay.
Yes, I think this would be.
Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this interview.
Yeah, thank you too for coming here, and
Pleasure.
hopefully you will have a safe and good trip, an adventurous trip onwards, and find out very interesting initiatives. I'm looking forward to see it myself, actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.